Hello, how's it going everyone? So in this video, we're going to be continuing our journey on understanding more about what is happening with Meta Andromeda. For reference, if you guys do not know, there is a lot of features inside of Meta Andromeda. So there's, for example, the Meta Gem, Meta Lattice, and then obviously the Meta Andromeda right here. And then now today we're going to be covering the sequence learning, the memory game, pretty much how the algorithm optimizes and how we can apply this to our ad accounts to better understand the framework that we're kind of working from, because this is what guides our overall strategies inside of Meta. So we kind of have this public knowledge here, and then we also have the disruptor knowledge that we get on the back end of one of our largest clients that we work with, or John works with. And so the cool thing about this is that we've kind of seen the earlier process of what Meta recommends when it comes to how to feed the algorithm the right information. So we talked about how it holds information, it gathers information, and then if you've watched my other Meta Andromeda videos, we've talked a little bit about how it sort of interacts with people inside of the journey. So I'm going to read this real quick, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts on this, and then we'll kind of go into the reason as to why we build the architecture the way that we do based off this information for ad accounts. So sequence learning, the memory game. Sequence learning is an AI modeling technique that enables our ad system to consider the sequence of actions a person takes before and after seeing an ad. This allows a deeper understanding of what the purchase journeys people take, allowing us to deliver more personalized and relevant ads at the right time. And then it gives an example over here about a ski resort. So it says, for example, previously with traditional aggregated data models, if a user converted on one ski resort ad, they may continue to see other ski resort ads. With recent changes in our ads learning model, after purchasing the ski resort room, a person would now see ads for ski equipment, lift tickets, ski luggage, providing more relevant ad personalization. So essentially, it knows where you're at in the journey, and it tries to push ads to you as you move along your journey of life, per se, right? And so we're on these platforms all the time, so they have a very good idea as to where we're at, which is a little scary. But if we're advertisers, we're obviously very happy about this. So the biggest thing that I want to bring up, though, about this is that a lot of times people don't necessarily, they're kind of stuck in the audience cluster mindset, right? They're thinking that, oh, I need to target this audience, and this is going to be what it's going to go after, and I know it's going to be working, and I know that I'm going to lean into this, group of people because they're in my niche. But pretty much what it's saying is that no, we don't want to do that. We want to go after the individual on where they're at in their journey of their specific type of purchase, right? So we're not looking at targeting people that are interested in outdoor activities, let's just say. We're looking at someone that is recently purchased a ski resort, and now you're selling them ski equipment. And this is going to be obviously how you're going to leverage the algorithm, because you don't want to add audience layers on top of that, because it's going to dilute the data and you're not even going to be able to target those audiences in the first place, right? So what we've been finding in accounts, and this is all on the CPRO Growth channel. If you are unaware of it, go check it out. That's where all the evidence is for all of this, but where we show like actual case studies. So I'm not just one of those, talking heads that kind of just makes up stuff and theories. We actually have evidence over there. So CPRO Growth, check that out. It's another YouTube channel, but this is sort of, the channel for kind of condensing this all down. So what do we mean by the fact that we don't want to layer on audiences and audiences don't work? It's because they overlap with Advantage Plus, and Advantage Plus is going to go beyond the audience. Even if you were to trim off as many things as you want, you exclude all customers and you exclude all your warm traffic, and you make sure that you're only targeting people of a certain demographic, it's still not going to only go after those people. And you'll see this as evidence where whenever you scale, for example, Meta, and you have all your exclusions on your already converted users, but then you start to see repeat customers come back through that same ad spend, and you see that essentially degradation of overall ad spend being attributed towards new customers. It's now driving return customers. So when you scale, you don't get as good of a cost per new customer, or an overall, AMR or NMR, whatever you want to call it, which is essentially just your ROAS for all new customers. And so when we look at that, we say, okay, well, when we scale this, it doesn't work. Okay, shift over to CAPI imports. When we scale it, it does work because we have a lot more data that's pushing towards new customers. So we're feeding the algorithm the audiences that we want, kind of thing. Now, the big factor when it comes to CAPI imports and how this works on the sequential learning is one of the things that we've noticed, and it's against our best operating procedures, which is view through conversions or view any engage view conversion kind of thing, right? And so what generally is taught inside of our community is using 7-day click. And the reason for that is because the data is a lot cleaner and it's a lot easier to find correlations between the benchmark of the in-platform and then your actual P&L. But the issue with that is that it limits the ability for the algorithms to lean into transitioning and seeing more parts of the journey and rewarding creative for certain parts of the journey if you're running a sales or lead campaign or app campaign as well too. And so what that means is that you need to make sure that you're, number one, tracking the data as well as possible, because you can see which ads are performing more top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel to get you a better picture as to what's going on. But if you're running CAPI imports, one thing that we found that was very beneficial is with CAPI imports edge tag, right? So we're using edge tag. We're not just using Elevar, we're using actual edge tagging. When we filter for just pushing in click data, it will still attribute engaged view conversion data when you push that into the platform. So we're taking clean data and we're giving that to the platform, but we're running 1-day view inside of the platform along with 7-day click, which is then allowing Meta's Andromeda to cycle through different parts of the creative a lot more effectively, right? We can get more engaged view conversions that show for a certain creative that then allows that to now transition to our top of funnel creative, let's say. So really, really important that you run that barrier if you are running engaged view conversions, because you want to make sure that it's not just making up data. If you are in a scenario where you have engaged view conversions already or just view through conversions already mixed with clicks, make sure that the ratio is less than the clicks, because once that ratio switches, now you're going off of modeled data and you have no evidence of actual correlation. It's more so just what the algorithm tells you. So when that threshold crosses 50%, there's more engaged views. Be very, very skeptical of the data. I would swap to 7-day click if that is the case, but very, very scary if you're in that scenario, because that means that the algorithm can go in all sorts of directions. So we want to make sure that we still have those controllable benchmarks. So going back to the core of this, the reality is that sequential learning allows us to meet more users at the specific part of the journey, while also allowing us to have positive experiences with the consumer, because it's what they're actually looking for. It's not just some random ad that pops up and interrupts them per se. It does, but not in as much of a negative sense, which is also incentive for the algorithm or for Meta to keep people on the platform, because it meets people where they're actually at in their journey. And it's cool because it's dynamic. So if someone purchases, Meta knows it's going to then swap to the different stage in the journey and advertise the next set of creative. So we're all really just combining data together, which is a little scary. But with that being said, this is more information on how Meta Andromeda's structure works. Just want to give you guys the insight, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.